Now, as we were hearing earlier in the programme, Storm Barra has been affecting communities across Ireland, Wales and the north of England. And as global warming continues to increase, the effects of climate change mean that extreme weather events are likely to become more frequent and, of course, intense in the future. So let me just come to you first, Bryony. I mean, we can't put every storm to climate change, but are we ready?
Hello. No, you're absolutely right. Winter storms have been with us for forever, really. But what we're going to be seeing in the future is much more intense and more frequent storms. And we really need to start getting better at predicting the severity of those storms so that we can then take action to try and make sure that we have the least damage and don't have any losses of life. We've got to get ready for what's in store ahead of us. And arguably, we're starting very late in that process. So it's really time we started to talk about this as a nation.
And Simon, this is the second storm to hit the UK in just the last few weeks. There are thousands of people still without power. Are we prepared to deal with their upsets? We don't seem to have the infrastructure in place.
Yes, it seems that we are not prepared for these kind of storms. And more generally, we're not very well prepared for the impacts of climate change. What the kind of simple equation is that we can either mitigate climate change, reduce emissions, adapt to those impacts, or suffer. And there seems to be a lot of suffering coming down the line because of a lack of reducing emissions and a lack of adaptation. There was a report by the statutory advisors to the government, the Committee on Climate Change, and they said that we were woefully inadequately prepared for climate impacts.
And Bryony, do you think that people are aware that we're going to be having more of these storms? And crucially, are they ready and prepared to deal with them? Do they know how to handle this?
I don't think we really are aware, and it's probably no surprise because we haven't actually had any public information broadcasting from the government on climate since the 2000s. And it's been sort of left to people to find out information as best they can. And I think obviously we've been a bit distracted in the last couple of years with another crisis, but that shouldn't really take our eye off the longer term threat that we need to get ready for this crisis. This is kind of waiting in the wings. It's not going to go away. The physics of climate change is really, you can't negotiate with it. So it's in store for us. And as you know, we really need to see the government take a lead in helping people understand those simple things like just thinking about your home and understanding how vulnerable you might be either to extreme heat in the summer or exposure to flooding or even just high winds. People start to think about their homes as not being perhaps as safe as they once were and starting to prepare for it. We don't want to alarm anyone, but we also don't want to have people just, going into this with ignorance. We can prepare, and that will help to stop people from feeling the damaging effects.
Well, Simon, just going on what Bryony just said then, is our government too reactive? Do we only think about flood defences after we've had floods?
And it seems to be the case that we see an impact and only then start to think about it. And scientists have given ample warning of the kind of impacts of climate change, the heat waves, the heavy rainfall events, and we should really be moving fast to have a public information campaign, as Bryony says, to help the public understand the issues and what they can do about them. But crucially, we have this 10-point plan from the government about how to reduce emission, how it's going to reduce emissions, but we don't have an equivalent 10-point plan about how we're going to adapt to climate change and what the government is going to invest to make sure that our critical national infrastructure and our homes are resilient for what's coming in the 21st century.